Welcome to Making the Case. I'm Laverne McGee in for Yodit. More changes on the way for the highest court in the land, giving President Biden an opportunity to make an historic appointment that could change the look and feel of the U.S. Supreme Court. Tomorrow, Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer is expected to announce that he plans to retire when his current term ends this summer. Now, Justice Breyer was nominated by former President Bill Clinton and has served more than 27 years on the high court. Liberal groups have been calling on the 83-year-old to step down so that President Biden could nominate the next justice while the Democrats still control the Senate. They could possibly lose that control in the November midterm elections. Joining us now from Atlanta is C.K. Hoffler, the immediate past president of the National Bar Association. C.K., thank you so much for being with us. I am extremely anxious to hear your thoughts about this. What do you think about this news that Justice Breyer is stepping down?
Well, I think it's, Justice Breyer has been a very good Supreme Court justice from the standpoint of his opinions, from his reasoning, and he is, of course, more liberal in his thinking. So the fact that he's stepping down right now affords President Biden the opportunity to nominate an African-American woman, the first time in history. And really, we might have a chance of seeing an African-American woman survive the process through the Senate and the 4 steps that have to take place and become the first U.S. Supreme Court justice who's an African-American woman. So it could be a historic moment and a very important moment in history for this country, for sure.
Absolutely. I need to get your personal perspective, CK. You're a Black woman, you're an attorney, you're an accomplished woman in so many different ways. What does this mean to you personally?
This means so much to me. I just finished my term as I'm the immediate past president of the National Bar Association. We vetted and identified numbers of eminently qualified African-American women who served on different courts, who we believed would be just stellar to be presented as candidates for the U.S. Supreme Court. There are so many well-qualified African-American women. So for me to live at this time in history, to experience this, and to live really vicariously through who I hope will be the next U.S. Supreme Court justice is really a dream come true for so many of us. Thurgood Marshall, when we think of the U.S. Supreme Court and we think of someone who carried the water for so long for social justice, for issues of concern to Black and brown people in this country, we think of Thurgood Marshall. We do so much in the tradition of Thurgood Marshall. But there were other extraordinary jurists, Constance Baker Motley, so many others, they're all National Bar Association members, I might mention, that could have served on the U.S. Supreme Court, but it just wasn't time. Well, we believe now is the time. This is the time for the president to make true on his promise and to nominate an African-American woman. And we have seen numbers of African-American women who are currently on the bench, usually on the federal bench, the Federal Court of Appeals, but other courts as well, that would be able to, without a question, we believe, make it through the process. But it's going to require a lot of support and a lot of encouragement because that's what it takes to make history.
Absolutely. And we know that Breyer, of course, is a liberal justice who's known for trying to compromise with conservatives. And right now, the conservatives hold a 6-3 majority on the court. So President Biden's nominee won't drastically change the court's political makeup. But CK, how do you think a Black woman being on the court would affect the balance of power?
I think it would really affect the balance of power in the same way that we see when we break through glass ceilings, that we affect the world, quite frankly. A Black woman on the U.S. Supreme Court would bring a different perspective, a new perspective. With all due respect to the women who have served on the U.S. Supreme Court or who are currently on the U.S. Supreme Court, that voice is not there. And it needs to be there. It needs to be represented. It would make a huge difference in terms of how we in this country and internationally perceive the U.S. Supreme Court. The U.S. Supreme Court is under attack because it is so conservative. It has gotten into a pattern of losing, if you will, in the court of public opinion because of a lot of the rulings of late. And when we have a court that has 6 conservative members and 3 more liberal members, it's easy for them to lose some credibility in many circles. And even though it won't change the balance of power in terms of liberals versus conservatives, it will change the overall perspective of the U.S. Supreme Court and the voice of the U.S. Supreme Court. It would be extraordinary to have that Black woman who is eminently qualified we can't wait to see her author an opinion on the U.S. Supreme Court. Certainly we've got Clarence Thomas, who's a conservative. I thought perhaps he might be willing to retire. I digress. So I think that it would be tremendous.
I have to chuckle at that one, CK. I'm sorry. That one made me laugh.
I just had to say it. I just had to say it. I just had to say it.
But I got to ask you also, how do you think this would affect Black and brown communities?
Well, I think it will affect Black and brown communities tremendously to be seen in the highest court of the land, to see someone who looks like you, who may have a more open perspective, who may think through issues in a way that resonates in our communities is huge. I equate it to seeing yourself on television. For years, Black and brown people never saw themselves in a positive way on television. That changed, and when it changed, it affected the way that we felt about ourselves. But most importantly, it could affect policy, it could affect decisions, and the way that we perceive the U.S. Supreme Court. It just would be historic on so many levels. And on a personal level, I would just sit with pride and thank God that I lived to see this day. And I know I'm jumping ahead, but I am claiming the victory that it's going to happen and that this president's going to do it. And then the Senate is going to confirm an African-American woman to the U.S. Supreme Court. I'm claiming that victory.
Claim it, CK. Claim it. I'm claiming it with you. Okay. We know the U.S. Supreme Court has decided to hear arguments in the fall challenging whether Harvard and the University of North Carolina will be able to continue using affirmative action during their admissions process. That's just one of the hot button issues coming up before the court. Others may include abortion rights, voting rights, and the death penalty. So, CK, if a Black woman is confirmed as the next justice, we're claiming it. How do you think it will impact the outcome of these issues?
Well, I think it could impact the outcome of those issues because being on the U.S. Supreme Court, even if you've got a majority of conservative justices, you have the opportunity to try to speak to your fellow justices. After all, you all are at the U.S. Supreme Court, the top court in the land, in this nation. So having a voice that would understand affirmative action, for instance. I will say, and I've spoken a lot about this, if affirmative action, if in the North Carolina case and in the case of Harvard, if affirmative action programs are stricken, if the Supreme Court gets rid of affirmative action, that will reverberate in every segment of our society in the United States. And what happens here happens in Canada and happens abroad or has an impact. So just on the issue of affirmative action, having that voice, a clear voice on what it could mean, speaking to fellow justices. It's not just a question of the majority conservative and more liberal justices, because there have been examples over time of liberal justices that have been able to impact more conservative justices and vice versa. So I think that's critically important, but on all issues, reproductive right issues, immigration issues, voting rights, civil rights, all of these matters will be addressed by this U.S. Supreme Court. So having that voice is going to be critically important, and that voice will be unique because there is no one else on the U.S. Supreme Court that would represent those interests, in my impression.
So I got to ask you before we go, because everybody and their brother is giving their opinion on who they think it should be. So I got to ask you who your pick is. And I got to tell you, it's funny because people are putting out all kinds of names out there, whether they're attorneys or not. They're putting out Michelle Obama. They're putting out the vice president. They're putting out Oprah. I mean, who is your pick?
Well, I have several picks, but we have Ketanji Brown Jackson. We have J. Michelle Childs, Eunice Lee, Candace Jackson, Cheryl Eiffel, Lenore Kruger, Wilhelmina Wright. There are so many eminently qualified women. Actually, if I sat here, I could probably come up with 50 names. That's how many eminently qualified African-American women are poised to be confirmed through the U.S. Senate and serve honorably and do a magnificent job on our U.S. Supreme Court. So I'm claiming the victory because I know that we have the candidates, and these candidates are positioned, well positioned, whether you look at it traditionally, the traditional channels that lead to the U.S. Supreme Court, or non-traditional channels. They are there, and they are coming in at the right time in history. So we have to make it our business. It's an imperative that the next U.S. Supreme Court justice be an African American woman.
I'm excited to hear of all the qualified candidates. That actually is also spectacular, the fact that there is such a long list. But we are claiming it. Thank you so much, C.K. Hoffler, immediate past president of the National Bar Association. As always, we appreciate you joining us.